Something's wrong with him.
I put off making this video for a long time. It's not what I usually talk about in my videos, but I think the time has finally come to address it. This video is about McSkillet, who he was and what happened to him. This is a guy who made his first YouTube video when he was only 15. He would come to have a wildly successful career, build multiple successful businesses, redefine how CSGO skins, a literal billion-dollar industry, was understood by the public, and became an iconic name in the CSGO community. And then, when he was 18, he did something that changed his name from fame to infamy. And when the news broke, it didn't make sense to me. There were a lot of unanswered questions, and I couldn't understand why someone would act like that. But I've read every detail I possibly could about this story since then, and spoken to people who knew him behind the scenes, and I understand now, all too well, and I think it's a story that needs to be told. There is a connection between who he was on YouTube and how his story ended, and I think it matters, and matters a lot. And this video is going to explain it, starting at the beginning. This is the story of McSkillet, the king of banned skins.
Let's get to my first video here. So my first video, when was this uploaded? This was uploaded on April 21st of 2015. So that
when a YouTuber enjoys a stratospheric rise to fame, it's generally a combination of being in the right place at the right time with the right sort of skill set to actually enjoy some kind of long-term success. And this is especially true in McSkillet's case. His first ever video, published in April 2015, was the top 10 most expensive skins in CSGO, and while it wasn't anything special in terms of editing or scripting, it did something unique. In fact, it did something no one else was doing. In fact, that was the reason McSkillet made it in the first place.
I was on YouTube one day, and I was getting hooked on these CSGO skins, and I wanted to know what the most expensive ones were, so I searched CSGO top 10 most expensive skins. And there was no videos on it.
And this video would be the definition of the right place at the right time, because beginning in 2015, CSGO skins, not CSGO gameplay, but CSGO skins, went viral on YouTube. Numerous huge YouTubers quickly began doing case unboxing videos, whether it was Max Mofo.
Is always A+ for me. And it's a red! We didn't get the fucking red!
FaZe Clan.
Oh my god! Oh my god! No way!
Call of Duty YouTubers. And these videos quickly began racking up millions of views. Now, these viewers didn't care less about CSGO the game. CSGO the game only really had a cult following at this point, but they cared a lot about skins. And more importantly, they cared a lot about watching people open cases to try and get things, or to put it in another way, gambling. This would have long-term consequences, but in the short term, it meant millions of people were interested in skins. And in this environment, McSkillet was doing something no one else was doing, and that was making lore videos about skins. And he quickly started diversifying the topics from just a video on the most expensive skins. He was also making up the top 10 lists, teaching people about rare patterns and other rare skins, doing exotic trade-up contracts, looking at secrets on skins. He was making content that no one else was making at the time, and he was making it for an enthusiastic audience who didn't really have a good way of finding this information. A lot of databases and guides just didn't exist back then. You needed to spend hours and hours searching through forum threads to get the answers. But McSkillet's channel made this easy for people, and this was the reason for its breakout success.
I started to gain like around 20 subs a day, which was a pretty big step for me. Then I started gaining like 50 subs a day, then started gaining 100 subs a day, then like 250 a day, another 250, and then my channel just started exploding like crazy, and I was gaining over 1,000 subscribers each day.
Within just 3.5 months, he was making his 100k subs video. But actually getting to 100k subs can be pretty easy if you're in the right place at the right time. Growing further requires actual skills, and McSkillet had those skills. For one, he was acutely aware of why he'd become popular in the first place, which is a very, very valuable ability if you're a YouTuber and not something everyone has. And this made him very good at identifying new topics that his audience was interested in.
This video here also blew up because none of the other CSGO YouTubers were really covering the new skins right when they came out, but I made videos right when the new update came out on like these skins, which were pretty successful videos.
But also, he had a bit of a knack for comedy. One of his early, really popular video series focused on joking about dodgy trades on the popular website CSGO Lounge, and he did a fairly good job at it.
Alright, time to check today's trades. This looks like a pretty good one. I'm a little bit into... Oh wait, it's got the FN look on it. Yep, this is a steal. This guy's got my knife. I've got his FN look deagle.
However, one other very important skill that was apparent very early on in McSkillet's videos was his ability to network. Very early on, Leafy, yes, the Leafy, the band off YouTube Leafy, actually collabed with him, appearing in his funniest worst trades videos and also appearing in an extremely popular case opening battle video. And when you combine all these traits, it's pretty easy to see why he was so successful. McSkillet's career quickly earned him superstar status and launched him into one of the most famous and controversial careers in CSGO history.
Hey, what's going on guys? McSkillet here with another CSGO video, and today gonna be doing another inventory update.
When it comes to the golden age of CSGO on YouTube during 2015 and 2016, there's 5 names that really stand out. Anomaly, 3 Clicks, The War Owl, Sparkles, and McSkillet. And McSkillet was not someone to squander his golden ticket. In fact, he made the absolute most of it. Now, McSkillet's peak period on YouTube had run from the end of 2015 to the end of 2017, and rather than go over it in chronological order, I'm going to focus on some of the most important events during this period of his career. And the first event was his embrace of gambling. So, you know how I mentioned that case unboxing videos were blowing up all across YouTube during 2015? Well, eventually, someone looked at it and figured, why are we gambling on Valve slot machines? Let's get ourselves a piece of the action. Let's make our own gambling site using CSGO skins. And thus, the billion-dollar CSGO gambling industry was born. Now, it's safe to say that many of the actors involved in this industry were not particularly well-meaning.
He lost, but he got money.
But for a lot of young guys without much life experience, gambling sites also meant a chance to make life-changing amounts of money, and I find it pretty understandable that a lot of them took it. McSkillet was 16 when he started advertising for these sites. I think most 16-year-olds would have done the same. And in any case, with one exception, he kept his record pretty clean and steered clear of the scandals that destroyed other people's careers. Now, initially, McSkillet didn't show any actual gambling in his videos. For most of 2016, he was sponsored by either CSGO Wild or CSGO Strong, and the main form of advertisement appears to have just been an overlay on the screen. If he showed actual gambling on these sites, I can't find the videos of it. However, at the end of 2016, he took a sponsorship with CSGO Roll, where he started showing actual gambling at the end of his video. Now, this was probably quite a daunting move for him at the time. It's clear he held off from doing this for quite a while, and it's also clear that he cared a lot about maintaining the trust of his audience based on what he said in the video.
And also the second part of this video is going to be doing some bets on CSGO Brawl, and they actually said that whatever I win I can withdraw, so they will be legitimate bets, and I definitely prefer that kind of stuff over the like case unboxing website videos, which the other YouTubers have already done a gazillion of.
And overall, it was pretty well received, and with that barrier overcome, McSkillet started showing gambling content much more regularly, also promoting Skin Hub, Society.gg, CSGO Gem, and CSGO Artsy, amongst others. And these videos would have paid extraordinarily well. It's not possible to know the exact numbers, but think in excess of 50 grand per video. But this wasn't where McSkillet made most of his money, because during 2017, McSkillet, who was by the way only 17 at this point, would start 3 different skin sites. First of all, in January 2017, he launched a skins trading site called Skin.trade. Now, this site was active for less than a year, and a lot of the information about it is lost. It appears to have been very lucrative at first. I'm certain I remember McSkillet claiming on Reddit that it was making 30k a day at one point, but unfortunately, even though I can find the thread where I remember him saying this, McSkillet has been largely unpersoned on Reddit, so the comments are lost. The site seems to have declined pretty quickly after that, though skins trading sites were very competitive in 2017 and skin.trade probably didn't keep up with the competition. But I doubt McSkillet cared too much because he'd already moved on to his case opening site, CSGO Kingdom. Now, unlike some gambling site owners, McSkillet didn't lie about his ownership of the site, he was actually honest about it. But unfortunately, a lot of information about the site is now gone. Even the Twitter account appears to have been deleted, and key videos on McSkillet's channel are lost. Speaking to people behind the scenes, I've heard the site was only really profitable for a month or two and was defunct pretty quickly. But again, McSkillet probably didn't care because he'd moved on to his final and most lucrative venture, CSGO Magic, which launched in November 2017, and unlike the other two sites, we've got a lot more information on this one, some of it in McSkillet's words.
But the reason I made it is because my trading site does not make any money anymore, and CSGO Kingdom I've actually stepped down from because I just want to focus on something new.
Now, McSkillet promoted this site with a blitz of videos throughout November, and apparently it was a big hit. I was lucky enough to speak to one of his business partners in the site who provided a lot of really helpful insight into what was going on. So first of all, financially this website was apparently a stonking success. It made a lot of money and McSkillet was apparently very good at bringing in traffic. It was also apparently well run with a very competent dev. So in other words, it was a very good business, and it's probably not a coincidence that only a month later, McSkillet was unveiling his brand new sports car. Now, like most YouTubers, McSkillet also had his share of controversies, and although they weren't massive controversies in the grand scheme of things, I think they are worth discussing. First of all, for April Fools in 2016, he released a prank video that made it seem like you could trade up covert skins into knives.
But come on, Gaben, this is kind of somewhat expensive, not too expensive though. Oh my god, what? We just got a Karambit Sapphire from a trade-up contract? What the fuck?
Now, this video led to pandemonium on the market because a lot of people didn't realise it was a prank. Rip all chameleon prices, and it also led to allegations of price manipulation, although personally I think that the idea that someone who was sponsored by CSGO Wild would feel the need to engage in such a harebrained and high-risk scheme is a bit ridiculous. Now, in August 2016, McSkillet also generated some controversy when he released a video that showed what was supposed to be the maps for the next operation, which was supposed to be only 2 weeks away. Small problem though, that information was wrong and the next operation was actually more like 9 months off. Now, this was embarrassing more than anything else, and McSkillet privated the video and actually stopped making videos for a month or so afterwards, even jokingly calling himself a dead man on Twitter. But McSkillet's biggest controversy actually happened after he returned from this break. In late October 2016, McSkillet released a video that essentially took a massive dump on case opening sites and labelled them as a scam. Now, this video is also now deleted, largely because it upset a lot of other YouTubers, and not just because some of them were sponsored by the sites that McSkillet attacked. It was also because shortly after McSkillet made that video, he started promoting CSGO Roll, a gambling site.
The thing he's doing, it's basically like saying like this. Okay, guys. So, I really hate the milk, guys. I really don't. Yeah, all the milk you're drinking, it's so bad. The milk you're drinking actually scams you. And now 3 weeks later, I'll be like, okay, but I make my own milk now.
Yeah, there was a pretty valid charge of rank hypocrisy here, although McSkillet does appear to have learnt from it and generally kept himself out of this sort of stuff afterwards. However, despite all the controversy and gambling sites, McSkillet still made a pretty important contribution to the community. He didn't do that much original research himself, but his channel did a lot to educate people on the basics of skins. CSGO's trading scene became increasingly technical and sophisticated over the years, and McSkillet's channel did a lot to push these ideas to the wider community. His videos discussed things like case odds, floats, rare patterns, and trade-up contracts, and the content was incredibly influential, but the videos I remember the most fondly were his trade-up videos, and at the time, McSkillet crafted the #1 lowest float block fade.
And... oh my god! Yes!
And also the #1 lowest float dragon lore.
Oh my god. Yes! Oh my god! Oh. Holy shit.
And he also did a massive StatTrak Factory New P90 Emerald Dragon trade-up where he managed to land no less than 4 hits in one video.
We got 4 StatTrak Factory 2 P90 Emerald Dragons, 5 StatTrak Factory 2 Op Graphites, and 1 StatTrak P2000 Ocean Foam, well over $10,000 in skins.
Now, looking at McSkillet's career as a whole during this time, I do have to say that gambling casts a bit of a shadow over it. He definitely got deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole over time, but for such a young guy, his achievements over these 2 years were pretty remarkable. He built a huge following, started successful businesses, and made a vast amount of money. As a teenager, he achieved more in a couple of years than some people achieve in a lifetime. But no YouTube career lasts forever, and McSkillet's was already coming to an end.
It's all kind of moved to China. Not too much action from Dubai anymore. But that's pretty much for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. McSkillet, and I'm out.
McSkillet didn't leave YouTube overnight. Even as early as 2017, his channel was already showing signs of gradually winding down, with newer videos becoming fewer and further between. It's not entirely clear why he began making less videos. My guess, and this is only a guess, is that he was probably distracted running the various businesses that he set up over the course of the year, and making videos is grueling work. This video, for example, took over 20 hours to make, and I can imagine that with some other ventures running, McSkillet was probably happy to slow down on the videos themselves. But by 2018, his output had slowed to a crawl. His final video was released on the 20th of March 2018, and it featured a Chinese collector who accidentally stuck a $3,500 skin into a trade-up. Now, McSkillet had more content planned after this, but on the 29th of March 2018, Valve introduced a fateful update, the 7-day trade cooldown. This update added a 7-day trade hold to any item that was traded in CSGO, and it was specifically designed to try and stamp out gambling sites, and this update was followed with a massive ban wave targeting the bot accounts that gambling sites use to process skins. Long term, this update didn't work, but in the short term, it devastated every major gambling site in CSGO, including McSkillet's site, CSGO Magic, which shut down shortly afterwards, and in the process, McSkillet's personal inventory, containing over 100 grand worth of skins, was also banned due to a phone number that was shared with some gambling bots. Now, McSkillet didn't immediately quit after this. 2 days later, he put out a tweet mentioning he was still working on new content, including pre-recorded stuff, but also acknowledged he was having trouble coming up with new ideas. This pre-recorded footage, if you're wondering, was of him opening up a huge number of Katowice 2014 capsules, which are $3,000 each these days, on a trade-banned account. But for whatever reason, it didn't see the light of day. Instead, McSkillet changed his bio to say he was retired, and aside from the occasional tweet, he ceased to be active in the community. To this day, there's a lot of speculation about the impact the ban wave had on him. There's no doubt that between the bans impacting both his personal Steam account and CSGO Magic, that he would have lost a lot of money, and many people believe it left him more or less broke, but the truth isn't clear. I know from speaking to his main business partner in CSGO Magic, who, by the way, is a big community figure, not some random guy with 6 followers, that the website's dev had wanted to rebuild CSGO Magic to circumvent the trade hold, but McSkillet had said no and asked for the site to be shut down. What his motives were for that though, we may never know. But it is easy to see why people thought he might have been broke, because between losing his personal account and his website, he would have taken a real hit, and some of his actions on social media support the idea he was low on money. So, for example, he stated it would be difficult to do insane budget case openings in the future, an odd thing for a rich man to say, and he was also tweeting about moving into trailer parks to mow, perhaps empathizing with the financial pain. And on top of this, there was a major crypto crash around the same time all this happened, and people have speculated that he may have invested heavily in crypto. That was certainly normal for his peers, but there's no way of knowing for certain, and you could also interpret all of this very differently. Perhaps he just didn't think expensive unboxing videos were a good investment anymore. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're willing to waste your money, and maybe this comment here was just a joke. I mean, he's talking about a sports car trailer park, and he also said this: I'm not making videos on dumb shit like PUBG skins, even though I could probably get more sponsors that way or promote sites. Now, I know personal pride can be a big deal, but there would have been a lot of money on the table here, and it's a very weird thing for a broke man to say. But ultimately, all we know for sure is that one way or another, McSkillet left the community. He didn't make another video, he became inactive on most of his socials, and it seemed like that'd be the last we'd hear from him. Despite his stardom, he still remained a mysterious man. We didn't know his real name, his age or his appearance, and at this point, it seemed like we never would. Whoever he was, he'd still led a remarkable career. He'd uploaded around 500 videos, earned over 200 million views, and had peaked at over 900k subs. It was an incredible feat, but for now, it seemed like that career was at an end.
A wrong-way driver reportedly speeding on the 805 has just crashed near La Jolla Village Drive.
Let's get to 10 News anchor Brian.
On the 24th of August 2018, news started spreading on media about a horrific motor accident on a San Diego highway. A black McLaren sports car which was driving the wrong way down the road had collided with an SUV at high speed. 3 lives had been lost, and another person was seriously injured, and within hours, alarm bells were ringing in the CSGO community. McSkillet, famously, was well known to have owned a black McLaren. He displayed it in his videos before, and shortly afterwards, a grim confirmation arrived. The driver of the McLaren was 18-year-old Trevor Hateman, the man the world knew as McSkillet. Worse still, the crash he'd caused had also claimed the life of 43-year-old Aline Pizarro and her 12-year-old daughter Ariana. Now, after the initial shock of what happened, there were a few different reactions in the community. Some people responded with black humour, lots of black humour. Much of it was on McSkillet's Steam profile, which his parents quickly privated afterwards, but quite a bit of it still exists on his YouTube videos. However, many more people reacted with disgust. A lot of people assumed that McSkillet's actions were essentially a tantrum over Valve taking away his gambling site, reinforced to some extent by reports that McSkillet had rammed a gate at his school prior to the crash with the word Steam on it, and the response was vitriolic. Thousands of comments flooded Reddit, YouTube and Steam, labelling McSkillet a murderer and declaring that he should rot in hell. People expressing sympathy generally found themselves brutally attacked, and one dumbass even went as far as to make a thread on our unpopular opinions stating that McSkillet shouldn't be pitied, apparently unaware that this was anything but an unpopular opinion on the platform. But if there was one guy out there who had every right to be spewing blood, it was Aline Pizarro's son, Dominic, who'd just had his mother and sister taken away from him, but he took a very different attitude when interviewed by the local news.
Dominic can't find it in his heart to blame Heitman for the crash, even though it was Heitman driving the wrong way.
He was not in his right frame of mind, and that was the primary reason that he found himself going the wrong way on a highway, and that my prayers and thoughts are also for his family as well.
Now, Dominic appears to be an extremely nice guy applying a very genuine sense of Christian charity to the situation, but on October 12, 2018, San Diego County released their investigation into the crash, and it turned out that Dominic wasn't just a nice guy, he was also right. The report revealed that McSkillet's behaviour had changed abruptly 5 days before the crash occurred. The medical examiner believed he was suffering from mania. 2 days before the crash, he told his mother he'd driven his McLaren at 150 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone, and told his parents that neither the police nor their bullets could hurt him. His behaviour appears to have been particularly erratic on the morning before the crash. His parents asked a friend and psychiatrist, Dr. Mary Rusher, for help with his manic break. She called the police and stated, "I believe there's an individual who's a danger to himself and a danger to others. He threatened his mother in the early hours. She's scared for her life. He's suffering from a mental illness and he should be detained on a 5150 for further observation. He's paranoid, he's delusional, and I think he's manic." The police refused to intervene, however, citing legal concerns. Body cam footage shows Dr. Rusher and McSkillet's dad pleading with them for help, but to no avail.
It would be enough criteria, were I treating him, to diagnose him with a mental illness and to hold him involuntarily against his will because he's reporting behavior that is placing the public at risk and placing himself at risk.
Later that morning, McSkillet, sobbing, told his parents he was having a breakdown before sleeping for 4 hours. When he awoke, he told his parents he had to go. His father attempted to prevent this by blocking the driveway of another vehicle. McSkillet broke out by ramming his father's vehicle. He drove to a nearby school where he smashed a metal gate and broke a window before leaving, and then, 20 minutes later, he collided with another car on the I-805 highway. These weren't the actions of someone who was having a tantrum over losing some skins. These were the actions of someone who was seriously mentally ill and unable to access the proper treatment. And while there's different takes on this story, when I consider McSkillet's career as a YouTuber, there is one thing that stands out to me more than anything else. As I think this video shows, he didn't have a perfect record on the platform by any means, and it wouldn't be honest of me to pretend otherwise, but it's very clear he was extremely intelligent, he was hardworking, he had good people skills, he had good business skills, and he achieved amazing things. He was 18. I'm sure he had a lifetime of incredible achievements in front of him, but instead, he had a mental breakdown, and this breakdown transformed him from that smart, talented young man capable of amazing things into someone who would kill himself and kill to other people. And if there's a clearer example of just how seriously mental illness should be taken, I don't know what it is.